Ah, the Sega Saturn, home to the greatest library of shoot 'em ups. Well, if you don't count the Nintendo Switch, I guess, but modern consoles don't count. We're talking about retro consoles. Look at this lineup, for Christ's sakes. Good lord. Imagine owning all of this as a kid. It would be like the equivalent to you being the first guy in your grade to get a BJ. Dude, what was it like? Unfortunately, the United States didn't get to experience the greatness that the Sega Saturn had to offer, as most of these amazing arcade ports were only released in Japan. Thanks, Sega, dick. This definitely somewhat contributed to the Saturn's poor sales, in my opinion. I'm not saying having these games over here in the US would have saved the console or kept pace with the PS1 or N64, but it definitely would have sold more units and possibly brought more third-party support. But hey, hindsight is 2020, my friend. But as time has gone on, the Sega Saturn has actually become my favorite 5th generation console, mainly due to its ridiculous lineup of arcade ports, and of course, the greatest controller ever. Yes, I know, the PS1 has a good showing on it as well, but a lot of these ports are just better on the 2D powerhouse Sega Saturn. Oh, and sorry brah, I'm not the biggest fan of RPGs, so don't sit there and try to sell me Final Fantasy 7 through 9. It's not gonna happen. I'm not knocking these games, they're great, I played them, I get it. I'm just not a big fan of the genre. The games are slower than Jared Fogel's metabolism. I'm all about that arcade goodness, that non-stop action where the game uses your ballsack as a speed bag, edge of your seat intensity, fingers sweating like Kevin Spacey inside a Chuck E. Cheese. Those I've got 40 minutes to kill, let's play a masterpiece type of game. Batsugun was the last shoot 'em up game that was developed by the godfather of the bullet hell genre, Toaplan. The same guys who gave you Truxton, Grindstormer, and Hellfire, and many more. These guys would later break up and become Cave, which is an acronym for Computer Art Visual Entertainment, and continue on with their bullet hell greatness with the Don Pachi series. But what a swan song for Toaplan though. Batsugun does not disappoint. This game is amazing. The first true bullet hell game in the genre. Look, if you're familiar with Toaplan and Cave shmup games, then you know how this works. 5 crazy intense levels, 50 to 100 bullets on the screen at the same time, and one hit kills you. No mercy, no laid back experience, just straight up arcade insanity. You know, there's actually some sci-fi plot to this game, but it's a shmup, so who gives a shit? Just 2 weapons, the main blaster which can level up, and bombs capable of killing everything on screen. But getting back to me crapping on RPGs, there's actually some RPG elements to this game. As you shoot down the stampede of enemies that come at you, you gain experience points that are separate from your score. These experience points will coincide with your main gun leveling up. Like basic missionary over the course of 24 hours, your weapon can only level up twice after achieving its maximum level. There's also these P icons, which increase the power of your specific level of blaster, and I think the most P icons that you can collect is 5, and after that you just get extra points. But the coolest feature of this game, which also gives it extra replay value, is the ability to choose between 6 characters and 3 types of ships, with each one specifically focusing on blaster power damage, spread range, or a mix of both. These 3 ships are called Sky Mirage, Dragon's Whisper, and Judgment Flasher.
What kind of stupid name is that?
Of course, they all have their different types of shooting styles, but that's what makes this game awesome compared to earlier shmups. Different variations of gameplay with each style of shooter. You're not stuck with one ship. You're no longer the guy who married his high school sweetheart and only experienced one box. No, now you're that stud, the captain of the chess team type of stud, who gets to pick and choose which babe he wants to fool around with next. Overall, this game is amazing, and it was Toaplan's swan song. It's a shame that they're not around anymore, but they kinda are since Cave is a spin-off of them. Kinda like how the employees of Konami became Treasure. You know, the guys who made Gunstar Heroes and the almighty Radiant Silvergun and Ikaruga. I would sit here and say definitely pick this game up on the Saturn, but it's $200 complete in box, so yeah, not worth it. Sucks. See, this is why retro game collecting is obsolete now. You can't even buy a goddamn basic good shmup for $5 anymore. $200? Come on, man. Oh well. Good news is that last year, the Saturn version was ported to the PS4, Xbox One, and the Switch, and I think the PC, but it's called Batsugun Saturn Tribute Boosted. I got my Switch physical copy from PlayAsia, so definitely pick that up. I think it's like 40 bucks, but hey, it beats buying a Sega Saturn and spending $200 on this thing. Give it a shot though. You owe it to yourself to play the first true bullet hell game in the shmup genre. Experience a part of video game history and brag about it the next time you need to seduce your wife. You won't be disappointed. It's an amazing game and you need to play it.